What if you could unlock the secret to connecting with others on a deeper level, shifting their perspectives and guiding their decisions without them even realizing it? Imagine being able to walk into any room, any conversation, and leave a lasting impression effortlessly. It may sound like magic, but the truth is, it's all rooted in psychology, the fascinating science of how we think, feel, and act. We all influence the people around us, often without even realizing it. From the smallest gestures to the words we choose, we are constantly shaping how others perceive us and how they respond to our ideas. But what if you could take this influence to the next level? What if you could master the subtle techniques that persuade people to see things your way, while also creating stronger, more meaningful connections? This book is your guide to 15 powerful psychology tricks that can transform the way you communicate, persuade, and lead. These techniques aren't about manipulation or deceit. They're about understanding the psychology behind human behavior and using that understanding to build trust, create rapport, and inspire others to take action. Whether you're trying to win someone over in a negotiation, inspire a team, or even improve your personal relationships, these tricks will give you the tools to do so with confidence and grace. From the timeless power of a well-timed compliment to the subtle science of mirroring body language, each chapter will reveal a technique that taps into a fundamental aspect of human psychology. You'll discover why simple gestures, like offering a warm drink, can create an instant bond, or how listening actively can not only help you understand others, but also guide them toward agreement. You'll learn how the pace of your speech, the tone of your voice, and even the way you nod can shape a conversation in ways you never imagined. But here's the most important thing you'll learn. Persuasion, when used ethically and responsibly, has the power to create positive change. These tricks are not about getting someone to do something against their will. They're about connecting with people in a way that fosters mutual respect, trust, and understanding. It's about guiding them to see a new perspective while also valuing their own thoughts and feelings. As you read through these 15 psychology tricks, remember that true persuasion isn't just about getting what you want. It's about creating win-win situations where both you and the person you're communicating with benefit. It's about using your understanding of human behavior to build stronger relationships, inspire positive action, and make the world a little bit better. Are you ready to discover the power of these psychological techniques? To become someone who inspires trust, fosters cooperation, and guides others with ease. Let's dive into the world of persuasion and start mastering the art of influencing others with intention, empathy, and authenticity. The journey begins now. Welcome to Audiobook Vision. Today, we're diving into 15 psychology tricks to persuade anyone. If you're ready to take charge of your future, you're in the right place. Before we get started, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and share it with others who are hungry for change. And for those of you looking for something extra, check out our channel membership for exclusive content and perks tailored just for you. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Power of Giving a Reason. Imagine standing at the edge of a decision, teetering on the verge of saying yes or no. What sways you? Often, it's not the request itself, but the reason behind it. Humans are inherently curious creatures, drawn to explanations that provide clarity and context. It's this need for understanding that forms the bedrock of one of the most powerful principles in persuasion. Giving a reason. The science behind giving reasons. Psychologists have long studied the impact of providing reasons in requests. In a groundbreaking experiment conducted by Dr. Ellen Langer in the 1970s, researchers observed how people responded when someone tried to cut in line at a photocopier. The results were startling. When the person said, May I use the copier? I need to make copies. Nearly 94% of people let them go ahead. Compare this to a mere 60% when no reason was provided. What's fascinating is that the reason didn't even need to be particularly compelling. The phrase, "I need to make copies," added no new information, yet its presence was enough to evoke compliance. This phenomenon, dubbed the because effect, underscores how the mere act of giving a reason, no matter how trivial, triggers a subconscious response in the listener to say yes. At its core, this principle speaks to a fundamental human desire, the need for justification. When we understand why, we're more willing to agree, cooperate, or comply. Examples of how compelling reasons change outcomes. In the professional world, giving a reason can transform how your message is received. Consider these two scenarios. Scenario 1, a manager emails their team asking them to work late to meet a tight deadline. Without a reason, "Please stay late to finish this project." With a reason, "Please stay late to finish this project because it's critical to secure our biggest client this year." In the second example, the team understands the stakes. They're not just working late, they're contributing to a larger goal that benefits everyone. On a personal level, reasons have a similar power. Imagine a friend asking to borrow your car without a reason. "Can I borrow your car?" With a reason, "Can I borrow your car because I need to pick up my mom from the airport and my car broke down?" The addition of a reason transforms the request from an imposition to an empathetic appeal, increasing the likelihood of a positive response. Practical scenarios for applying this technique. Negotiations. When asking for a raise, include a reason that highlights your value. For example, "I'd like to discuss a salary increase because my contributions have led to a 25% boost in revenue this quarter." Sales and marketing. Advertisers often use reasons to persuade customers. Compare these. 2 slogans: without a reason, "Buy our toothpaste." With a reason, "Buy our toothpaste because it protects against cavities better than any other brand." Everyday interactions, even mundane requests, benefit from explanations. Instead of saying, "Pass the salt," try, "Pass the salt because it'll bring out the flavor in this dish." By offering a reason, you create a narrative that resonates with the listener, building trust and increasing the chances of agreement. Why reasons matter. Ultimately, giving a reason satisfies a psychological itch. It shows respect for the other person's intelligence, validates their curiosity, and provides a sense of purpose. Whether you're closing a deal, building relationships, or simply navigating day-to-day interactions, mastering the art of giving, a reason will empower you to achieve more and connect deeper. Chapter 2. The gentle power of politeness. A single word can change the course of a conversation, the outcome of a request, or even the foundation of a relationship. Words like please and thank you might seem small, but their impact is profound. They're not just phrases of politeness, they're bridges of connection and tools for persuasion. Imagine for a moment the warmth you feel when someone thanks you sincerely. That brief acknowledgement of your effort or kindness lingers, creating a bond. Conversely, think of a request made without so much as a please. The sharpness of the demand can create resistance, even if the task is trivial. Politeness, therefore, isn't just about etiquette. It's about fostering cooperation, trust, and goodwill. The power of please and thank you. The beauty of polite expressions lies in their simplicity. Consider the word please. It transforms a demand into an appeal, signaling respect for the other person's autonomy. When you say, "Could you help me with this, please?" it conveys humility, acknowledging that the other person has a choice in how they respond. Similarly, thank you holds a power far greater than its 2 syllables suggest. It's an expression of gratitude that validates the other person's effort. When someone feels appreciated, they're more likely to help again, creating a cycle of mutual respect and cooperation. Studies in behavioral psychology reveal the effectiveness of politeness. Researchers have found that people are significantly more likely to comply with requests that include polite expressions. Why? Because these words tap into a universal human need, the desire to feel valued and respected. Politeness fosters cooperation and trust. Politeness is more than just an outward display. It reflects a mindset of empathy and consideration. When you use polite expressions, you communicate that you see the other person not as a means to an end, but as a partner in your interaction. This builds trust, a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. Take the workplace as an example. A manager who habitually says, "Please complete this task," and "Thank you for your effort," fosters a team environment rooted in mutual respect. Employees feel seen and valued, leading to higher morale and productivity. On the other hand, a manager who barks orders without a please or thank you breeds resentment and disengagement. Politeness also plays a critical role in diffusing tension. Imagine a heated argument between two colleagues. A simple phrase like, "I appreciate your perspective, but please allow me to share mine," can shift the tone from adversarial to collaborative. Case studies of successful polite persuasion. Case Study 1. The Customer Service Miracle. In one memorable case, a customer service representative at a struggling company turned around a negative customer experience using nothing but politeness. When a dissatisfied client called, the representative began with, "I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience you faced. Please let me know how I can make this right for you." The genuine tone, coupled with polite language, disarmed the angry customer. By the end of the call, not only was the issue resolved, but the customer left a glowing review online. Politeness transformed what could have been a public relations disaster into a moment of brand loyalty. Case Study 2. Politeness in Negotiation. High-stakes business negotiation once hinged on the use of polite expressions. One party began their proposal with, "Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. Please allow us to explain how this partnership could benefit both of us." The other party, impressed by the respectful approach, was more receptive to the offer. The deal closed smoothly, demonstrating that politeness isn't just about niceties. It's a strategic tool for building rapport and opening doors. Case Study 3. Everyday politeness, extraordinary results. Even in everyday scenarios, politeness works wonders. A mother trying to get her teenager to clean their room switched from, "Clean your room now," to, "Could you please clean your room today? It would really help me feel less stressed." The teenager, feeling respected rather than commanded, complied without resistance. The magic lay not in the request itself, but in the way it was framed. Why politeness matters. At its heart, politeness is about connection. It's a recognition of the shared humanity between you and the person you're addressing. In a world often filled with noise and demands, polite expressions are like soft whispers of respect and gratitude, cutting through the chaos. So, whether you're asking for a favor, closing a deal, or simply navigating daily life, remember this. Please and thank you are more than just words. They're keys to hearts and minds, unlocking cooperation, trust, and goodwill in ways that demand never could. Chapter 3. The Magic of Compliments. A well-timed compliment is a gift, not just of words, but of acknowledgement. It's a way of telling someone, "I see you. You matter." This simple yet profound act has the power to unlock doors, bridge gaps, and forge connections. Compliments, when given sincerely, can transform even the most guarded individual into someone open to conversation and collaboration. But why do compliments hold such magic? The answer lies in our universal desire to feel valued and appreciated. Recognition, even in its simplest form, can be a powerful force for good, creating ripples of positivity and trust. Why compliments open people's minds? Psychologists have long studied the impact of positive reinforcement on human behavior, and compliments sit at the heart of this principle. When you compliment someone, you activate their brain's reward center, releasing a burst of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. This rush not only makes the recipient feel happier, but also fosters a sense of connection with the person giving the compliment. Compliments also create a psychological phenomenon known as the reciprocity effect. When someone feels appreciated, they are more likely to respond with kindness, cooperation, and openness. It's no coincidence that some of the most successful leaders, negotiators, and influencers are also masters of giving authentic compliments. Imagine meeting a stranger at a networking event. A simple, genuine observation like, "I admire the confidence with which you speak," can transform the interaction. Suddenly, the stranger is no longer a stranger. They're someone who feels seen and valued, making them more receptive to building a relationship. Do's and don'ts for authentic compliments. While compliments are powerful, their effectiveness hinges on authenticity. A forced or insincere compliment can backfire, coming across as manipulative or hollow. To wield this tool effectively, it's important to strike the right balance. Do's. Be specific. Vague compliments like, "You're great," are less impactful than specific ones. Like, "Your ability to explain complex topics so clearly is impressive." Specificity shows that you've truly paid attention. Focus on effort, not just results. Complimenting someone's hard work or dedication often resonates more deeply than focusing solely on outcomes. For example, "I can see how much effort you've put into this project, and it shows." Make it about them. A good compliment centers on the recipient. Avoid veering into how their actions benefit you, which can dilute the sincerity. Use genuine tone and body language. A heartfelt tone and warm smile can amplify the impact of your words. Follow up. If possible, reinforce your compliment later by referencing it again. For instance, "I'm still thinking about how eloquently you handled that discussion yesterday." Don't overdo it. Overloading someone with compliments can seem disingenuous or even make them uncomfortable. Quality trumps quantity. Avoid generic praise. Comments like "good job" lack the personal touch needed to make them memorable. Don't use compliments as manipulation. Compliments given with an ulterior motive lose their power. Always aim for sincerity. Avoid sensitive topics. Compliments on personal appearance or potentially sensitive areas can backfire unless the context and relationship allow it. Don't interrupt. Wait for the right moment to give your compliment. Interrupting someone mid-thought to praise them can feel forced. Leveraging compliments to build rapport. Quickly, compliments are an unparalleled tool for building rapport, especially when time is short. Here are some practical ways to use them effectively. First impressions. Compliments are a fantastic icebreaker. For example, when meeting someone for the first time, saying, "You have such a great energy." It's refreshing, can set a positive tone for the conversation. During conflict, compliments can de-escalate tension. If a disagreement arises, start with something positive like, "I really value your perspective on this, and I'd like to understand it better." In negotiations, complimenting the other party's strengths, such as their thorough preparation or innovative ideas, can create goodwill and make them more receptive to compromise. Everyday interactions. Compliments don't have to be reserved for special occasions. A kind word to a coworker, friend, or even a stranger can make their day and deepen your connection. Real-world example: the diplomatic compliment. In a high-stakes international negotiation, a diplomat once began their presentation by complimenting the opposing party's cultural heritage and long-standing contributions to global progress. This genuine acknowledgement softened the initial tension, paving the way for a more productive discussion. The ripple effect of compliments. What makes compliments truly magical is their ripple effect. A single compliment can brighten someone's day, improve their mood, and even influence how they treat others. In this way, your kind words can create a cascade of positivity that extends far beyond the initial interaction. So, don't hold back when you notice something admirable about someone. A well-placed compliment isn't just a moment of connection. It's a spark that can ignite collaboration, understanding, and lasting goodwill. Chapter 4. Offer a warm gesture. Imagine walking into a room on a chilly day. The first thing you're handed is a steaming cup of tea or coffee. Instantly, you feel a sense of comfort and welcome, as though the warmth radiating from the drink is reaching your very soul. Such small gestures, though seemingly trivial, have an extraordinary ability to transform interactions. Offering warmth, literal and metaphorical, is not just an act of kindness, but a deeply ingrained social cue. It signals safety, care, and connection, laying the groundwork for trust and cooperation. The psychological effects of offering warm drinks. Warmth is a universal language. Psychologists have found that our physical experiences of warmth are closely tied to emotional perceptions. In a groundbreaking study by Yale researchers, participants who briefly held a warm cup of coffee were more likely to describe a stranger as warm and trustworthy than those holding a cold drink. This phenomenon, known as embodied cognition, suggests that our minds interpret physical warmth as a signal of emotional warmth. When you offer someone a warm drink or a warm handshake, you're subtly communicating, "I care about you. You're safe here." Think of those moments when you've shared a cup of coffee with a colleague or offered tea to a guest at your home. These rituals transcend cultural boundaries, providing a shared experience that fosters connection and trust. The science of warmth and likability. Why does warmth matter so much? The answer lies in how we evaluate people. Research shows that when forming first impressions, we instinctively assess two qualities: warmth and competence. While competence earns respect, warmth wins trust. Warmth conveys approachability, empathy, and kindness, qualities that form the foundation of likability. And likability, in turn, paves the way for deeper relationships, whether personal or professional. Here's where offering warmth becomes a powerful tool. By incorporating gestures like sharing warm drinks, using kind words, or even maintaining warm eye contact, you create an environment where others feel valued and at ease. Best practices to subtly enhance trust. Building trust doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes the simplest acts of warmth are the most effective. Here are some best practices to consider. Share a warm beverage. Offering a hot drink during meetings, interviews, or casual conversations creates an immediate sense of comfort. It's a small, thoughtful gesture that says, "I care about your well-being." And maintain warm body language. Your gestures and expressions convey warmth as much as your words. A genuine smile, open posture, and steady but non-intrusive eye contact can make the other person feel at ease. Be attentive. Warmth is also about attentiveness. Show genuine interest by listening actively, nodding at appropriate moments, and asking thoughtful follow-up questions. Offer warmth in words. Simple phrases like, "Take your time," "I'm here to help," or "I appreciate your perspective," can go a long way in creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere. Use physical warmth appropriately. In cultures where it's acceptable, a warm handshake, a light touch on the shoulder, or even offering a blanket to someone feeling cold can convey care and trust. Always be mindful of cultural and personal boundaries. Set a warm environment. Pay attention to the physical environment. Soft lighting, comfortable seating, and even the scent of a warm meal can make people feel more at home and open to conversation. Real world. Example, the CEO and the coffee cup. Consider the story of a CEO who had a habit of beginning every meeting by offering coffee or tea to their employees. This small act not only broke the ice, but also created an environment where everyone felt valued and equal. Over time, employees reported feeling more comfortable sharing ideas, leading to greater innovation and collaboration. The CEO understood that leadership isn't just about commanding respect, but about earning trust through warmth and care. The ripple effect of warm gestures. Warm gestures have a ripple effect. When someone feels cared for, they're more likely to extend that same care to others. This creates a chain reaction of positivity and trust that can transform relationships and even entire organizations. As you move forward, remember that warmth is not just a physical sensation, it's a feeling we create for others. By offering a warm gesture, you're not only making someone feel good in the moment, but also planting the seeds for lasting trust and connection. Chapter 5. Be an active listener. In a world full of voices clamoring to be heard, there's something truly magical about the simple act of listening. It's a skill often overlooked, but profoundly transformative. Being heard is one of the most basic human needs, and when you give someone the gift of your undivided attention, you not only build trust, but also unlock the door to true understanding. The power of listening over talking in persuasion. Think back to a time when someone genuinely listened to you. Perhaps they leaned in, nodded at your words, and responded thoughtfully. How did that make you feel? Likely valued, respected, and understood. In the art of persuasion, talking dominates the conversation far too often. Yet the key to truly influencing someone isn't in what you say, but in how well you understand them. Active listening allows you to uncover fears, desires, and motivations, the real levers of persuasion. When you prioritize listening, you create a safe space where others feel free to share their thoughts and concerns. This not only builds rapport, but also gives you the insight needed to address objections and craft tailored solutions. Techniques for effective active listening. Active listening is more than just hearing words. It's about being fully present and engaged. Here are some techniques to help you master this vital skill. Maintain eye contact. Eye contact signals that you are fully present. It shows that you're not just hearing, but genuinely connecting with what the other person is saying. Use verbal encouragement. Phrases like, "I see," "Tell me more," or "That's interesting," encourage the speaker to continue and show that you value their input. Practice reflective listening. Summarize or paraphrase what the speaker has said to confirm your understanding. For example, "So what I'm hearing is that you're concerned about..." This not only ensures clarity, but also makes the speaker feel validated. Resist the urge to interrupt. Let the speaker finish their thoughts before you respond. Interrupting can make someone feel dismissed or unimportant. Observe nonverbal cues. Pay attention to body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. These often reveal more than words and provide valuable context to the conversation. Ask open-ended questions. Encourage deeper dialogue by asking questions that require more than a yes or no answer. For instance, "How do you feel about this change?" Or what concerns do you have? Set. Be patient. Silence can feel uncomfortable, but it often encourages the speaker to open up more. Give them time to gather their thoughts without rushing, to fill the void. How understanding objections leads to better outcomes. When someone objects, it's not rejection, it's an opportunity. Objections often stem from fears or uncertainties, and listening carefully allows you to address these concerns directly. For example, imagine you're pitching a new idea to a team, and someone voices concerns about its feasibility. Instead of dismissing their worries, you ask, "Can you elaborate on the challenges you foresee?" By understanding their perspective, you can collaborate to find solutions and turn skeptics into allies. Real-life application. The negotiator. Consider a seasoned negotiator mediating a tense conflict. Instead of asserting their perspective immediately, they begin by listening intently to each party, acknowledging their feelings and concerns. This act of listening not only diffuses tension, but also creates a sense of fairness and understanding. By the time they propose a resolution, it resonates deeply because it's informed by the needs and fears of all involved. The emotional connection of listening. Listening is an act of love. It shows that you care enough to set aside your own agenda and focus entirely on the other person. It says, "You matter, your words matter." When you listen, you don't just hear, you understand. And understanding is the bridge that connects hearts and minds. It's the foundation of trust, the spark of empathy, and the cornerstone of influence. As you practice the art of active listening, you'll find that your relationships deepen, your influence grows, and your ability to navigate challenges strengthens. Remember, in the dance of communication, sometimes the most powerful step is the one where you stay still and truly listen. Chapter 6. Use fluid speech. Words are like water. They can flow effortlessly, carving a path through resistance, or they can stutter and stumble, creating barriers where there should be connections. Fluid speech, marked by confidence and clarity, holds an undeniable power in the realm of persuasion. It reassures the listener, builds credibility, and makes the message resonate on a deeper level. How confidence impacts persuasion. Imagine standing before a crowd, nervousness gripping you as your words falter. Now imagine the same scenario, but this time your voice is steady, your tone assured, and your words purposeful. The difference is night and day, not just for you, but for your audience. Confidence in speech is magnetic. When you speak with conviction, people are naturally drawn to your message. They trust that you know what you're talking about and feel inspired to align with your perspective. Even the most brilliant ideas can falter if delivered hesitantly, while a simple concept can ignite action when conveyed with poise. Fluid speech isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity and assurance. It's about believing in your words so deeply that others can't help but believe in them too. Eliminating filler words and hesitant speech. Filler words, like, act as speed bumps in the smooth road of communication. They interrupt the flow, dilute the impact of your message, and can make you seem less confident or prepared. To eliminate filler words and hesitant speech, consider the following strategies. Embrace the power of pauses. Silence is not your enemy, it's a tool. Instead of filling gaps with or allow yourself to pause. A moment of silence gives your audience time to absorb your words and demonstrates confidence in your delivery. Slow down. Speaking too quickly increases the likelihood of stumbling over words or resorting to fillers. Slow, deliberate speech not only enhances clarity, but also conveys authority. Practice active awareness. Record yourself speaking and identify where filler words creep in. Awareness is the first step to breaking the habit. Use transitional phrases. Replace fillers with purposeful transitions like, let's move on to, this brings us to, or an important point to consider is. These phrases maintain flow and clarity. Build confidence through preparation. The better you know your material, the less likely you are to rely on fillers. Confidence in your content leads to confidence in your delivery. Exercises to improve fluidity and clarity. Improving. Your speech takes practice, but the results are worth it. Here are some exercises to enhance your fluidity and clarity. Read aloud daily. Choose a book, article, or script and read it aloud for 10 minutes a day. Focus on enunciation, pacing, and expression. This helps train your brain to deliver words fluidly. Practice tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are not just for fun, they sharpen your articulation. Try classics like, she sells seashells by the seashore, or create your own. Record and review yourself. Speak on a topic, record it, and listen back. Identify areas for improvement in tone, pacing, and clarity. Engage in improvisation. Set a timer for 2 minutes and speak on a random topic without preparation. This exercise trains you to think on your feet and maintain fluidity under pressure. Work with a partner. Practice conversational drills with a friend or colleague. They can provide feedback on your speech patterns and help you refine your delivery. The emotional power of fluid speech. Fluid speech is more than a technical skill, it's an emotional connector. When your words flow naturally, they mirror the rhythm of your thoughts and emotions. This authenticity resonates with your audience, making your message not just heard, but felt. Think of the great orators and storytellers who have moved you. Their words didn't stumble, they soared. Their confidence, clarity, and passion drew you in, making you believe in their vision. By mastering fluid speech, you not only elevate your ability to persuade, but also forge deeper connections with those who listen. It's not just about the words you say, it's about the confidence you inspire and the emotions you ignite. Chapter 7. Speak with pace. In the symphony of speech, pace is the tempo. It sets the rhythm, builds anticipation, and ensures the melody of your words resonates with your audience. Speaking at the right pace can evoke trust, emphasize critical points, and engage listeners with unparalleled impact. Mastering this skill is about understanding when to slow down, when to accelerate, and how to strike the perfect balance between speed and clarity. The benefits of talking faster in persuasion. There's a compelling energy that comes with speaking faster. It signals enthusiasm, confidence, and passion. When used strategically, a quickened pace can create a sense of urgency, making your message feel dynamic and exciting. For example, in sales, a faster pace can convey excitement about a product or opportunity, compelling the listener to act promptly. In storytelling, a quickened rhythm during an intense moment can heighten suspense, pulling the audience to the edge of their seats. Faster speech can also project authority. When someone speaks quickly but clearly, it suggests they know their material so well that their thoughts flow seamlessly into words. However, speed must be wielded with care. Speak too fast, and you risk overwhelming your audience or seeming nervous. The key lies in controlled acceleration, speaking quickly without losing clarity or connection. When and how to adjust your pace for effectiveness. Pacing is not a one-size-fits-all tool. Effective communicators know how to adjust their speed to suit the moment, the audience, and the message. Slow down to emphasize key points. When delivering critical information, slowing your pace allows your audience to absorb and process your words. Imagine telling someone, "This is the opportunity of a lifetime." The deliberate pause gives weight to your statement, making it more impactful. Accelerate during exciting or urgent moments. Conversely, picking up speed can convey excitement or urgency. For instance, "You won't believe how quickly this can transform your life." Spoken in an upbeat tone ignites curiosity and enthusiasm. Match your audience's energy. Observe your audience. Are they lively and animated or calm and reflective? Matching their energy level through your pace creates rapport and shows you're in sync with their mood. Vary your pace for engagement. Monotony is the enemy of engagement. A consistent pace, whether fast or slow, can lull your audience into boredom. Instead, use variation to keep them on their toes. Accelerate to build excitement, then slow down for a poignant moment. This dynamic approach keeps your listeners attentive and emotionally invested. Balancing speed with clarity. No matter how fast or slow you speak, clarity must never be sacrificed. Speaking too quickly can make your words blur together, while speaking too slowly can cause your audience to lose interest. Striking the balance between speed and clarity ensures your message is both engaging and understandable. Techniques for achieving balance. Enunciate clearly. Articulate each word, even at a faster pace. Clarity reinforces credibility and ensures your audience doesn't miss key points. Pause strategically. Use natural pauses to give listeners time to process information. Pauses also create a rhythm that keeps your speech engaging. Practice breath control. Controlled breathing supports consistent pacing and prevents you from rushing due to lack of air. Take deep, steady breaths to maintain fluidity. Get feedback. Record your speech or ask a trusted friend for feedback. Are you speaking too quickly or too slowly? Adjust based on their observations. Focus on the listener. Pacing isn't about what's comfortable for you, it's about what resonates with your audience. Tune into their reactions and adjust accordingly. The emotional impact of pacing. The pace of your speech is more than a technical skill. It's a powerful emotional tool. It can convey urgency, build suspense, or create moments of reflection. It transforms your words into an experience, guiding your audience through a journey of emotions. Think of the thrill you feel when a speaker's words rush with excitement, or the calm reassurance when their tone slows to emphasize something profound. These moments are not accidental. They are crafted through pacing. By mastering the art of pace, you give your words a heartbeat, a rhythm that connects with your audience on a deeper level. You ensure your message is not just heard, but felt, leaving a lasting impression. Chapter 8. Mirror Speech and Actions. Imagine sitting across from someone who unconsciously leans forward as you do, mirrors your tone of voice, and matches your expressions. How does it make you feel? Likely, it creates a sense of connection, trust, and even an unspoken bond. This is the power of mirroring, one of the most subtle yet profoundly effective tools for building rapport and influence. At its core, mirroring is about reflecting the other person's behaviors, speech patterns, and energy in a way that resonates with them. It is not mimicry. It's about creating a sense of harmony that fosters trust and understanding. The psychology behind mirroring. Mirroring is rooted in neuroscience and psychology. When we see someone act or express themselves similarly to us, our brains activate mirror neurons, which are linked to empathy and social bonding. These neurons make us feel understood and valued, as if the other person is on the same wavelength. This instinctive response is why we often find ourselves naturally mirroring the people we feel comfortable with. Close friends, family, or someone we admire. It's a non-verbal way of saying, "I see you, I understand you, and I'm with you." Mirroring also taps into the principle of familiarity. When someone reflects our behaviors or speech patterns, it creates a subconscious sense of sameness. which humans often equate with safety and trust. How to use mirroring. Subtly without being awkward. Mirroring must be subtle and natural to avoid crossing the line into awkward imitation. The goal is to make the other person feel comfortable, not to make them feel like they're being mocked. Start with body language. Observe the person's posture. Are they sitting upright, leaning back, or crossing their legs? Gradually adjust your own posture to align with theirs. For instance, if they lean forward slightly, do the same after a moment. Match their tone and pace. Listen to how they speak. Is their tone warm and enthusiastic or calm and measured? Is their pace quick or relaxed? Adapt your tone and speech. A pace to mirror theirs without overdoing it. Reflect their words, paraphrase their key points, or repeat certain phrases they've used. For example, if they say, "I'm really passionate about this project," you might respond with, "Your passion for this project really comes through." Mirror small gestures. If they use hand gestures to emphasize points, do so too in a similar understated way. If they smile, smile back warmly. These micro-mirroring actions go a long way in creating connection. Time your mirroring naturally. Avoid mirroring instantly, which can feel forced. Instead, let it unfold naturally, giving space for the interaction to flow. Practical scenarios where mirroring builds rapport. 1. Job interviews. During an interview, subtly mirroring the interviewer's tone and posture can create an impression of alignment and professionalism. For instance, if the interviewer speaks in a measured tone, adopt a similar calmness. Negotiations. In high-stakes discussions, matching the other person's demeanor can build trust and lower defenses. If they're speaking confidently but calmly, reflect that energy to show you're equally composed and trustworthy. Social gatherings. Mirroring is a fantastic tool for networking or meeting new people. If someone is animated while discussing a topic, reflect their enthusiasm. If they are more reserved, tone down your energy to match theirs. Romantic relationships. In romantic settings, mirroring creates a sense of intimacy and understanding. Matching your partner's gestures or speech rhythm signals emotional attunement, deepening the connection. Conflict resolution. When resolving conflicts, mirroring can diffuse tension. Reflecting a calm and empathetic demeanor can encourage the other person to mirror those same feelings, fostering cooperation. The emotional power of mirroring. Mirroring, when done skillfully, is a way to tell someone, "You matter, I see you." It transcends words, creating a sense of unity and alignment that builds trust and deepens relationships. Imagine the impact of a conversation where you feel truly understood, not just by words, but by the subtle actions that say, "I'm here with you." Mirroring is an invitation to connection, one that can open doors, build bridges, and transform relationships. Chapter 9. The nodding technique. There's something magical about a nod. It's a small, almost imperceptible gesture, but its impact is profound. Have you ever noticed how, when someone nods while speaking, you instinctively find yourself nodding in return? This subtle action holds the power to create agreement, foster connection, and deepen understanding without a single word being exchanged. It's a technique so powerful, yet so often overlooked, a simple nod that can change the course of a conversation. Why nodding creates subconscious agreement. The science behind nodding is both fascinating and powerful. Nodding, especially when paired with positive body language, triggers a subconscious response in the brain. When we nod, our bodies communicate agreement and support. In fact, studies show that people are more likely to agree with someone who nods while speaking. This subtle behavior reinforces the message, making it more persuasive. Nodding creates a sense of harmony between the speaker and the listener. It signals to the brain that the conversation is flowing smoothly, that there is alignment between the two individuals. Psychologically, when we nod in response to what someone is saying, we not only convey agreement, but also signal that we are receptive and open to further connection. It's almost as though our bodies are saying, "Yes, I'm with you. I understand. I'm on your side." Using nods to convey attentiveness and agreement. Nodding is more than just a sign of agreement. It's a tool for engagement. When you nod while someone is speaking, you communicate attentiveness and active listening. It says, "I'm fully present in this moment, and I value what you're saying." In this way, nodding serves as a silent affirmation that deepens connection and strengthens the bond between you and the person you're interacting with. When you're trying to persuade, nodding can be a powerful ally. As you express your ideas or points, incorporate nods to reinforce your statements. This nonverbal communication suggests confidence in your message, making it more likely that others will align with your thoughts. Nodding to build rapport. In conversations, especially when trying to connect with someone new, nodding can be used to establish rapport. It signals to the other person that you're paying attention, that you value their input, and that you're in tune with their ideas. The simple act of nodding fosters trust and warmth even before words are spoken. Nodding to encourage cooperation. Situations where you need to get buy-in, nodding can be a tool for gently guiding others to agreement. As you present your ideas, nod as if you're already agreeing with them, creating an unconscious urge for the listener to mirror your behavior and align with your perspective. It's as if you're saying, "I'm already in agreement and I'd love for you to join me." 3. Nodding to reinforce key points. When making important points, try nodding as you speak. This reinforces the strength of your message. When people see you nod while you speak, it sends a signal that you believe in what you're saying. This belief is contagious. It increases the chances that others will mirror your conviction and come to the same conclusion. Nodding to create emotional connection. Nodding also plays a role in creating emotional bonds. By nodding in moments of shared understanding, empathy, or even vulnerability, you communicate to the other person, "I feel what you're feeling. I'm with you on this." This emotional resonance deepens relationships, whether personal or professional. Strategies to encourage reciprocal nodding. Just as you can use nodding to express agreement, you can also use it to encourage others to mirror your actions. This is especially useful in situations where you want to foster cooperation or gain approval for your ideas. Start the nodding cycle early. Lead by example. Start nodding early in the conversation, especially when the other person expresses a point you agree with. This sets a positive tone and invites the other person to mirror your behavior. Over time, they'll begin to nod back, creating an unspoken rhythm of mutual understanding. Use the triple nodding technique. In more persuasive scenarios, triple nodding, nodding 3 times in quick succession, can have a powerful effect. This technique can signal strong agreement and encourage the other person to reflect the same positive energy. For example, as you make a persuasive statement, nod 3 times as if confirming each point, drawing the other person into a rhythm of subconscious agreement. Nodding at the right moments. Be strategic with your nods. Don't nod at every single point. Instead, nod during key moments that highlight mutual understanding or when emphasizing agreement. The more deliberate and thoughtful your nods, the more powerful they become. 4. Mirror their nods. Just as you can lead with your nods, you can also mirror the other person's nods. If they nod during a certain part of the conversation, follow suit. This mirroring reinforces the connection and encourages them to continue. Nodding, creating a cycle of cooperation and understanding, the emotional power of nodding. When you nod, you send a silent yet powerful message. I am here with you. I'm listening. I'm aligned with your thoughts and feelings. In both personal and professional interactions, this simple gesture can transform the energy of the conversation. It's a tool for fostering connection, building trust, and encouraging agreement. Imagine a conversation where both parties nod in unison, exchanging not just words, but a sense of mutual understanding. It's an emotional dance, a silent symphony of connection that opens the door to deeper, more meaningful relationships. Chapter 10. Leverage reciprocation. There's a quiet magic in the art of giving, an invisible thread that connects us all, binding us together with an unspoken understanding. When you give, you create a sense of obligation. It's a principle, so powerful that it can shift outcomes in ways you never imagined. The principle of reciprocity, or the obligation principle, is the invisible force behind so many of our decisions, often without us even realizing it. At the heart of reciprocity lies this truth. When someone does something kind for you, you feel a deep, almost instinctual need to give something back. It's a feeling that's hardwired into our psychology, one that dates back to ancient times when human survival depended on cooperation and mutual support. In today's world, this principle still thrives, and it can be used to great effect if you know how to harness it. The obligation principle and how it works. The principle of reciprocation is deceptively simple. When someone gives us something, whether it's a favor, a compliment, or a small token of goodwill, we feel a subtle but compelling urge to repay them. This isn't about a conscious decision or a rational thought process. It's an emotional impulse, a deep-seated need to return the favor. This drive to reciprocate comes from a place of fairness and balance. On a fundamental level, we desire to keep relationships in equilibrium. When someone does something kind for us, we subconsciously feel indebted, and that sense of indebtedness creates a desire to return the favor in kind. Think about the last time someone did something for you. Something thoughtful or generous. Didn't you feel an urge to show your gratitude in return? It might have been something small, like sending a thank you note, or something more significant, like offering your help in return. That's the power of reciprocity at work, weaving its threads between people and creating bonds that feel both natural and necessary. Examples of favors. Creating goodwill. To see the power of reciprocity in action, think about the countless times in your life where a small favor was all it took to change the course of a conversation, a relationship, or an outcome. A simple favor. Imagine you're at work and a colleague offers to help you with a difficult project. At first, you may feel a sense of surprise or gratitude, but the true magic happens later. The next time they ask for your help, whether it's something small like picking up coffee or a more significant favor, you instinctively feel that desire to repay them. This is the core of reciprocity at work, creating goodwill and deepening the connection between you. Personal acts of kindness. Think of a time when a friend or family member did something small but thoughtful for you. Perhaps they brought you lunch when you were feeling down or gave you a heartfelt compliment when you needed it most. You felt a wave of appreciation, but more than that, you felt a need to repay their kindness. This natural reaction is driven by the obligation principle, building trust and loyalty through small, simple acts of generosity. Corporate reciprocity. The same principle applies in business. In marketing, companies often give out free samples. To create goodwill, by receiving a free product or service, customers feel a sense of gratitude and are more likely to make a purchase or recommend the company to others. This isn't just good marketing, it's psychology at work. The beauty of the obligation principle is that it works even in the smallest interactions. It doesn't require grand gestures, a small favor, a thoughtful gesture, or even an unexpected act of kindness can create an emotional bond that paves the way for future cooperation. Timing. Your requests after acts of kindness. The secret to truly leveraging the power of reciprocation lies in timing. If you wait too long after performing an act of kindness, the feeling of obligation may fade. But if you time your request just right, when the sense of indebtedness is still fresh, you can maximize the impact of your actions. Here's how you can harness the power of timing. Make your request shortly after the favor. When you do something kind for someone, whether it's helping them, offering advice, or giving them a gift, wait for the right moment to make a request. The closer you time your request to the favor, the more likely they are to feel compelled to return the kindness. This doesn't mean making an overt transactional demand. It simply means asking for something small or making a request in a way that feels natural. Subtle requests. Sometimes the most effective way to leverage reciprocity is by making subtle, indirect requests. For example, if you help a colleague with a project a few days later, you might ask them for a quick favor in return. The key is to ask in a way that doesn't feel forceful, but rather like a natural progression of the relationship. Create a pattern of generosity. Timing your requests doesn't mean making them all the time. Instead, build a pattern of giving without expecting anything in return. When people perceive you as generous without seeking anything in return, they are more likely to reciprocate when you do ask for help. Over time, this pattern creates a cycle of goodwill that benefits both you and those around you. Be sincere. Reciprocity works best when the favor or kindness you offer is genuine. If you offer something just for the sake of gaining something in return, people will sense it. Genuine acts of kindness create a deeper emotional connection, making it easier to ask for help later without the transaction feeling forced or transactional. The emotional impact of reciprocation. Reciprocity isn't just a technique. It's a deeply emotional experience. The act of giving sparks feelings of gratitude, trust, and connection, while the act of receiving reinforces the bond between people. When you understand the emotional pull of reciprocity, you realize that it's not just about what you're asking for, but about fostering a deep and meaningful relationship. Reciprocity is a bridge between hearts, an invisible bond that strengthens with each act of kindness. Whether you're asking for a favor or simply giving with no expectation in return, the power of reciprocity lies in its ability to create lasting emotional connections that enrich every aspect of your life. Chapter 11. The Contrasting Technique. Life is a dance of opposites, where contrast shapes our perceptions and understanding of the world around us. It's through contrast that we truly begin to see the light and dark, the rich and poor, the calm and the storm. And when it comes to persuasion, contrast is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. It creates perceptions of value in ways so subtle yet so effective that they can dramatically alter outcomes. Imagine stepping into a high-end boutique. The soft music hums in the background, and the lighting is dimmed just enough to create an air of luxury. As you walk through the aisles, a sales assistant approaches with a selection of watches, but then, suddenly, she pulls out a gold watch with a gleaming price tag that almost makes your heart skip a beat. The price seems astronomical, but before you can react, she shows you a slightly less expensive model, one that still exudes elegance, but at a more reasonable price. In that moment, your perception of value has shifted dramatically. The contrast between the two watches has made the second one seem more affordable, even though its price is still high. This is the magic of the contrasting technique. By strategically placing two options in opposition to each other, you create a perception that one is significantly more valuable or attractive than the other. Creating perceptions of value through contrast. Contrast is not just about comparing two things side by side, it's about the emotional impact of that comparison. When you introduce a higher-priced, more extravagant option first, it makes everything else seem more reasonable by comparison. It taps into the power of relativity, playing on the way our brains evaluate choices. We don't perceive things in isolation. We always evaluate them relative to something else. This is the core of the contrasting technique. By juxtaposing two options with significant differences, you make the second option seem more desirable, more affordable, and often more valuable. Think about a time when you were presented with a choice between two similar products. One was clearly more expensive, but when you saw the other one, you felt that it was a great deal. That feeling of getting a bargain is the essence of contrast at work. In that moment, the lower-priced option appeared to be a much better value, simply because it was presented in contrast to the more expensive one. Steps to effectively use the contrasting technique in negotiations. While the contrasting technique is often used in sales and marketing, it can also be a powerful tool in negotiations. Whether you're negotiating a salary, a business deal, or simply a favor, understanding how to create the right contrasts can tip the scales in your favor. Here's how you can apply this technique effectively. Establish a high anchor in a negotiation. The first step in using contrast is to set a high anchor. Presenting an option that is exaggeratedly high, whether it's a price, a request, or a proposal, sets the stage for the next offer to appear much more reasonable. For example, if you're negotiating a contract, you might start by proposing a higher than expected amount. When you present a more moderate amount after that, the contrast makes it appear more affordable and justifiable. The key is to ensure the first offer is not so extreme that it alienates the other party, but just enough to create a noticeable difference. Introduce the better option. After you've set the high anchor, the next step is to introduce the option that you really want the other party to consider. This option will be seen as more reasonable and attractive due to the contrast with the first offer. You can even emphasize how much more affordable or practical the second option is, further solidifying its appeal. Timing is everything. Like all persuasive techniques, timing is critical when using contrast. You want the first high anchor option to land first, setting the stage for the contrasting option to take on its full effect. The quicker the transition from high to moderate, the more impactful the contrast becomes. Use specific numbers. In negotiations, the specificity of your numbers can amplify the contrast. Rather than saying, "I'd like a raise," consider stating, "I'm looking for a $15,000 increase," followed by a counteroffer of $5,000. The specificity gives the contrast more weight and makes the lower number seem like a better deal. Real-world applications in sales and daily life. The contrasting technique is so effective that it can be applied in almost every aspect of life. Here are a few ways to leverage this psychological tool in real-world situations. In sales, retailers and salespeople are masters of contrast. Whether it's showing you the most expensive item first or presenting a limited-time offer, they know that by making the most expensive option seem excessive, they make their other offerings appear more attractive. A car dealership might show you a top-tier model with all the bells and whistles before guiding you toward a more modest version. The high-end car might seem out of your price range, but when compared to the more affordable option, it suddenly feels more attainable. In job offers. When negotiating a job offer, you can use contrast to your advantage by first researching the highest salaries for your role or industry. Presenting this number early in the conversation can make the actual offer seem more generous than it might have otherwise. Even if you're not asking for the top salary, you'll have anchored the conversation to a higher value, making your negotiation feel like a natural middle ground. In personal relationships, believe it or not, contrast can even be used in relationships. For example, if you're planning a special evening for a loved one, you could start by showing them the more extravagant dinner or event you'd love to attend, before suggesting a more practical and affordable option. In this way, you create a sense of appreciation for the simpler choice, and they may be more open to it. In buying decisions, every time you go shopping, retailers use contrast to push you towards certain products. Have you ever noticed how items on sale are often paired with higher-priced alternatives? This subtle manipulation ensures that the sale item seems more desirable, simply because it's juxtaposed with the more expensive choice. The emotional power of contrast. The beauty of contrast is that it doesn't just appeal to our rational minds. It taps into our emotions as well. The emotional satisfaction of getting a good deal, of feeling like we're making a wise choice, can be more powerful than any logical argument. When you offer someone a choice that creates a noticeable difference in value, you're not just influencing their decision, you're shaping how they feel about that decision. Contrast is a tool that shapes perceptions, guiding people toward the choices you want them to make without them even realizing it. In the next chapter, we'll explore the art of scarcity, the psychology behind limited time offers, and the rush that comes from feeling like something valuable is slipping away. Chapter 12. Timing is everything. It's often said that timing is everything, but what does this really mean, especially in the world of persuasion? It means knowing the right moment to speak, the perfect instant when someone is most open to hearing your words. Just like a perfectly executed dance move, timing can elevate a simple gesture into something memorable, while poor timing can leave you stumbling and out of sync. Imagine this. You're at a family gathering, and you've been waiting for the right moment to ask your loved one for a favor. You wait, you observe, and suddenly you find the moment when they're relaxed, laughing, and completely at ease. You ask, and the response is instant and positive. This is the magic of timing. But how do we harness it, especially in moments of high-stakes decision-making or persuasion? The truth is, there are moments when people are more receptive, and there are moments when they're not. To be a master persuader, you need to understand when to strike, how to align your requests with the natural ebb and flow of people's emotional and mental states, identifying the best moments for persuasion. Persuasion is not a one-size-fits-all approach. To be effective, you must first understand the rhythms of the person you are trying to influence. People's minds are not static. They ebb and flow throughout the day, influenced by mood, stress levels, fatigue, and even the environment. Therein, the best persuaders are attuned to these shifts, allowing them to choose the right moments to make their move. For example, consider the difference between asking someone for a favor when they're feeling overwhelmed versus when they're in a relaxed, good mood. When a person is stressed or fatigued, their ability to process requests is diminished. In these moments, they may be more likely to say no or push your request aside simply because their cognitive resources are already stretched thin. On the other hand, when someone is in a calm, relaxed state, their mental defenses are lower and they're more likely to be receptive. But how do you know when that perfect moment has arrived? The answer is subtle observation. People's body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions all give away clues. A person who is slouched and distracted might not be in the right mental state for a persuasive request, while someone who is leaning in, making eye contact, and actively listening is primed for influence. Understanding mental fatigue and decision-making. Mental fatigue is one of the most important factors to consider when thinking about timing. Decision-making is exhausting. Whether we're deciding which product to buy or whether to take on an extra project, every decision we make requires energy. Over time, our mental resources become depleted, making us more prone to poor choices or, worse, to avoidance. When we're mentally fatigued, we're more likely to make decisions based on emotion rather than reason. Our defenses are lowered, and our ability to critically evaluate options diminishes. Understanding this process is key to aligning your requests with the right timing. Think about a long day at work, when your energy is spent and your ability to think clearly is starting to falter. If someone asks you for a big favor or presents a request at that moment, you may not have the mental resources to evaluate the request thoroughly. In a fatigued state, it's easier to say yes without fully considering the consequences. An emotional decision rather than a rational one. This is why the timing of your request matters. If you can wait until your target is feeling more energized, relaxed, or focused, they are more likely to consider your request with a clear mind, leading to better outcomes. In fact, the key to persuasive success often lies not in the strength of your argument, but in knowing when to present it. Tactics to align your request with the right timing. Now that we understand the role of mental fatigue and decision-making, it's time to discuss how to align your persuasion tactics with the right timing. This involves recognizing key moments in a conversation, interaction, or relationship when your words will be received with the most impact. The power of the pause. A powerful tactic to use in timing is the pause. After presenting your request or proposal, allow for a brief moment of silence. People need time to process information, and this pause gives them a chance to consider your words before they react. In that brief silence, you give the other person a chance to fully absorb the weight of your request, allowing them to come to a decision that feels right. The right moment to ask. The best time to ask for something is when the person is in a positive, receptive state. This could be after they've experienced a success or when they're feeling especially grateful. It's essential to avoid times when someone is already overwhelmed, stressed, or distracted. Instead, look for moments when they're relaxed, at ease, and mentally present. For example, if you're asking for a favor from a colleague, it's best to do so after a productive meeting or when they've just completed a task that makes them feel accomplished. This creates a positive emotional state, making them more likely to agree to your request. Building momentum before the ask. Timing isn't just about waiting for the perfect moment, it's also about creating momentum. A series of small, positive interactions can create a sense of goodwill and make the other person more inclined to say yes. If you're asking for something significant, try to build trust and rapport before making the request. Compliments, small favors, and expressions of appreciation all help to set the stage for a successful ask, using mental energy wisely. Another key to mastering timing is understanding when the other person is mentally alert. Early morning, after a break, or after a meal are often the best times to present ideas, proposals, or requests. Conversely, avoid asking for anything substantial when someone is nearing the end of a long day, has been working on a mentally taxing task, or is under stress. Timing and urgency. Sometimes timing your request with a sense of urgency can enhance its power. A limited time offer or a deadline creates a sense of scarcity, pushing people to act quickly. But be careful. Urgency only works when it's genuine. If people sense that the urgency is artificial or manipulative, it can backfire. However, When used correctly, it taps into our natural inclination to avoid missing out on something valuable. The emotional weight of timing. Timing isn't just a practical tool, it's a deeply emotional one. The moment you present your request isn't just about facts and figures, it's about the emotional landscape you're creating around it. When you time your request right, it resonates with the other person on a deeper level. It feels natural, easy, and aligned with their emotional state. This is why timing is so powerful. It has the ability to transform a simple conversation into a meaningful exchange, making your request feel like the most logical and natural decision. When you understand the ebb and flow of people's emotions and mental energy, you can become a master of persuasion, waiting for that perfect moment and then making your move. Chapter 13. Present balanced arguments. When it comes to persuasion, the truth has a remarkable power, one that often gets overlooked in favor of glossy promises and silver-tongued pitches. Yet, the greatest persuaders, those who can truly move people to action, know that the secret to genuine influence lies in the delicate art of presenting balanced arguments. You see, we are wired to seek the truth, even when it isn't easy to hear. People are drawn to honesty like a moth to a flame. But it's not just honesty for honesty's sake. It's the bravery of showing both the light and the shadow, acknowledging both the strengths and the flaws. It's about demonstrating a full picture, something real, something human. And in doing so, you build trust that is deeper and more resilient than any one-sided argument could ever achieve. Why honesty about flaws increases trust. Imagine this scenario. You're sitting in a meeting and someone makes a pitch for a product or service. The first half of the presentation is a list of glowing features, promises of perfection, and guarantees of success. But then something surprising happens. The speaker takes a step back and with humility acknowledges the flaws of their offering. They don't gloss over them or try to hide them. Instead, they present them clearly alongside the benefits. Immediately, your perception shifts. You don't just see them as a person selling a product, you see them as human. You see them as someone who has the courage to tell the truth, even when it might be uncomfortable. In that moment, you trust them more than you ever would have. If they had simply painted a picture of flawless perfection, why does this happen? Because we recognize vulnerability as a sign of authenticity. We can't connect with perfection, but we can connect with the truth. And the truth is that nothing is perfect. Not people, not products, not even relationships. When someone is honest about their flaws, they demonstrate strength, and that strength earns our trust. In the world of persuasion, where manipulation and deceit are often used to get ahead, the power of transparency cannot be overstated. When you openly acknowledge what's not ideal about a situation or a proposition, you build an environment of honesty that invites others to do the same. And that trust, once established, is the cornerstone of any lasting influence. Structuring arguments to highlight both positives and negatives. The art of persuasion doesn't lie in presenting a perfect case. It lies in the ability to present a nuanced, well-rounded argument that reflects both sides of the story. In fact, people are more likely to believe your message when it feels balanced and reasonable. This doesn't mean you need to be negative or overly critical. Rather, it's about being realistic and measured in your approach. A truly persuasive argument doesn't ignore the negatives. It incorporates them. It recognizes that life, business, and relationships are complex, and that any decision worth making comes with its share of both benefits and trade-offs. When you structure your argument to reflect this reality, you show that you understand the whole picture. You don't just present your proposal as a flawless solution. You acknowledge that while it has its strengths, it also has its weaknesses. This helps to eliminate skepticism, as it's easy for people to be wary of arguments that seem too good to be true. Let's say you're pitching a new software tool to a company. Instead of focusing solely on its advanced features and potential benefits, you also address its limitations. Maybe it's not as user-friendly as some of the competitors, or perhaps it doesn't offer all the bells and whistles some other tools do. But by acknowledging these flaws, you set the stage to explain how your software still offers the best overall value. You give people the full picture, letting them see both the pros and cons before guiding them toward a reasoned decision. This transparency is invaluable. By acknowledging the trade-offs, you create a sense of fairness, and that fairness builds trust. People don't want to be sold, they want to be respected. And when you present a balanced, well-considered argument, you show respect for their ability to make informed decisions, establishing credibility through balanced perspectives. True persuasion is built on credibility. People trust those who are credible, those who show that they understand the subject matter deeply and that they are presenting all relevant information, not just the parts that benefit their agenda. When you present a balanced perspective, you enhance your credibility by showing that you aren't trying to manipulate the situation, but rather that you're offering an honest, well-rounded view. Credibility isn't something that can be easily bought. It's earned over time through consistent, honest actions and words. When you consistently present balanced arguments, acknowledging both the positives and the negatives, you build a reputation for fairness and integrity. This is the kind of credibility that people not only believe in, but also trust and value. Think of the great leaders in history, those who have left lasting legacies. What made them so influential? Yes, they were visionary, but they also understood the importance of giving people a truthful and balanced picture. They didn't shy away from the difficult conversations or the hard truths. They didn't attempt to manipulate the facts to fit their own narrative. Instead, they presented the full story, and in doing so, they earned the trust and respect of those around them. In today's world, where manipulation is rampant and deception is often disguised as persuasion, the act of presenting a balanced perspective stands out as a powerful tool for establishing lasting influence. When you present the full picture, not just the polished, perfect aspects, you create a sense of integrity that people are drawn to. The emotional impact of balanced arguments. There's something deeply human about a balanced argument. It speaks to our desire for truth, our need for honesty, and our appreciation for transparency. When you present both the positives and the negatives, you're not just sharing facts, you're engaging people on an emotional level. You're creating a safe space where they can evaluate the situation honestly, without feeling manipulated or coerced. And this emotional connection is what leads to trust. It's what transforms a simple request into a persuasive one, a fleeting interaction into a lasting influence. When you acknowledge the reality of both sides, you show that you respect the person's ability to think critically, and that is the true power of persuasion. As you move through life, whether in business, relationships, or everyday conversations, remember this: persuasion isn't about winning the argument. It's about creating a space for honest, meaningful dialogue. It's about presenting the full picture, allowing others to make informed decisions, and in doing so, earning their trust and respect. Chapter 14. Use congruence to influence. Imagine a moment when you're trying to persuade someone, whether it's in a negotiation, a conversation, or even a casual request, and everything just clicks. The words flow effortlessly, the atmosphere feels light, and the other person's response is exactly what you were hoping for. It's as if the agreement was already decided, even before you made your pitch. How is that possible? The answer lies in the power of congruence, the subtle art of aligning your internal beliefs and your external behavior so that everything you say and do communicates the same message. When your actions, words, and energy are in harmony, the persuasive power you possess is magnified. People pick up on this alignment on a subconscious level, and it makes them far more likely to agree with you. Congruence isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about being authentic, yet projecting the right message that aligns with your desired outcome. When you exude confidence and belief in the agreement, even before it happens, others are drawn into that certainty. They start to feel like they're already on the same page as you, as if the decision has already been made. It's this almost invisible force that pushes them toward action, acting as though agreement is already decided. Have you ever noticed how people who act as though something is already a given tend to convince others more easily? They seem to speak with a quiet certainty, never hesitating or doubting, and it creates a ripple effect. People feel comfortable in their presence because they know that decision-making has already been resolved in the mind of the person speaking. This is congruence at work. To influence with congruence, it's essential to carry yourself as if the agreement has already been made. This doesn't mean arrogance or forcefulness. It means projecting the unwavering belief that the outcome is inevitable and mutually beneficial. For example, when you speak to someone about a partnership, instead of phrasing it as, "If you decide to join me," you might say, "When you join me, we'll make great strides together." By framing the conversation in this way, you're presenting the agreement as a fait accompli. You're allowing the other person to imagine themselves already in the situation, which makes it much easier for them to say yes. Your belief in the outcome becomes contagious. They don't feel like they're being sold to. They feel like they're simply stepping into something that's already in motion. This subtle shift in language, coupled with the conviction you carry, plants a seed in the other person's mind. It removes uncertainty and sets the stage for agreement even before it's spoken. The psychology of nonverbal persuasion. Words are only a small part of communication. The majority of what we say is conveyed through nonverbal cues, our body language, tone of voice, eye contact, and posture. When you speak with congruence, it means that your body language aligns with the message you're communicating. Your facial expressions, gestures, and posture should reflect confidence, openness, and trustworthiness. Think about the last time you were persuaded by someone. Chances are they didn't just use the right words, they used their entire presence to influence you. Maybe their posture was open, their hands steady, and their voice calm yet firm. This non-verbal alignment tells the other person that you're confident and that the decision is clear in your mind. It's this consistency between words and actions that reinforces the idea that the agreement is already decided. Let's say you're in a negotiation. As you present your proposal, you maintain steady eye contact and nod as they speak, showing you're fully engaged. When you talk, your gestures align with your words, your hands move with purpose, and your body remains open, facing the other person. All of these cues reinforce the notion that this conversation is not just a discussion, it's a path that's already been set, and you are simply guiding them toward it. Non-verbal persuasion is an incredibly powerful tool. It's a way to express certainty without saying a word. When your body language is in sync with your intentions, the persuasive message is not just heard, it's felt. Examples of congruence in action. Congruence doesn't just apply in high-stakes negotiations or sales. It's a tool that can be used in everyday life to influence decisions, build rapport, and foster trust. Let's explore a few real-life examples where congruence has the power to change outcomes. Example 1, job interview. Imagine you're in a job interview. The interviewer asks why you're the right fit for the position. Instead of answering hesitantly or with uncertainty, you confidently state, I know I am the right fit because my skills and values align perfectly with this company's mission. I'm excited about the opportunity to contribute and grow with your team. You've now communicated with congruence. Your words, energy, and body language all reflect certainty and alignment. You're not just telling them why you're a good candidate. You're embodying the belief that you are the solution they're looking for. Example 2. Building trust in a relationship. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, congruence is essential for building trust. When you speak with honesty but also act in ways that reinforce your words, you create a sense of security. For example, if you promise to follow through on a task and then your actions mirror that promise, you build credibility. When you say, "You care," but your actions reflect warmth, attentiveness, and consistency, the other person begins to trust you more deeply. Example 3. Negotiation in business. Let's consider a business negotiation. You've already done your homework, and you believe that the terms you're offering are fair and beneficial for both parties. Instead of presenting your offer with hesitation, you speak with calm confidence, and your body language reflects your belief in its value. You sit upright, speak clearly, and make steady eye contact. Your posture tells the other party that this offer is not just a suggestion, but something that you're convinced is the best decision for everyone involved. That belief you project is contagious, and they'll be much more likely to agree with. You dot to example 4, parent-child interaction. Congruence is powerful in parenting as well. Imagine a parent who says, "I trust you to make the right decision here," while their actions support that trust by giving their child the freedom and responsibility to act. The child feels empowered and respected because the parent's actions align with their words. The parent's congruence signals that they have complete confidence in their child's abilities, which encourages the child to take responsibility and make thoughtful decisions. Congruence is a subtle yet profound tool in the art of persuasion. When your words, actions, and energy align, you become a force of influence. People are drawn to your certainty, your authenticity, and your belief in the outcome you're presenting. They don't just hear you, they feel your conviction. By acting as though agreement is already decided and ensuring that your body language supports your words, you create an environment of trust and certainty. Whether in business, relationships, or everyday interactions, congruence is the silent persuader that makes people not just hear, but believe in what you have to offer. Chapter 15. Harness the power of repetition. There's a quiet, undeniable force in the world, the kind that moves mountains, shapes destinies, and softens hearts. It's not about grand gestures or shocking truths. It's about the simple, gentle force of repetition. Repetition isn't just about saying something over and over. It's about planting seeds that grow into trust, belief, and acceptance. It's the very reason a song can stay with you for days, why an idea starts to feel true simply by hearing it enough times. Repetition works, and it works because it builds familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. At its core, repetition is more than just hearing something again and again. It's about creating comfort. The more we hear something, the more it feels natural, expected, and safe. Over time, the message becomes embedded in our minds until it feels like it's always been there. When we hear something enough, it doesn't just stay in our minds, it starts to resonate deep in our hearts. This emotional imprint is what makes repetition such a powerful tool in persuasion. How familiarity builds trust and acceptance. Think about the last time you encountered a new idea or concept. At first, it might have felt foreign or uncomfortable, but as time went on, you heard it again and again and again. Slowly, that initial discomfort faded. The idea began to feel familiar, even comfortable. You didn't have to fight with it anymore. It felt right. That's the magic of repetition. It turns something unfamiliar into something you trust. In the world of persuasion, this is a game changer. When you repeat your message, you're not just making it easier to remember, you're slowly but surely making it easier to accept. This is why advertisers, leaders, and influencers use repetition as their secret weapon. They know that when a person hears something enough times, it no longer feels like a foreign concept. It feels like the truth. Take, for instance, a politician who consistently repeats key messages over and over during speeches or interviews. At first, those words might not have a significant impact, but over time, the repetition becomes powerful. The message starts to become part of the fabric of the listener's beliefs. Familiarity builds trust, and soon, those words are no longer contested. They are accepted. This is the reason why a catchy jingle or a slogan sticks with you. You hear it often enough, and suddenly it's attached to your emotions, your memories, and your preferences. The familiar rhythm of those words taps into your subconscious, turning them from mere phrases into truths. Crafting persuasive messages with strategic repetition. The key to using repetition effectively is crafting messages that can be repeated in different contexts while still resonating with your audience. It's not about just repeating the same line over and over. It's about weaving your message into the fabric of the conversation. The repetition must be intentional and meaningful. Let's say you're a leader trying to persuade your team to adopt a new vision for the company. At the beginning, you might focus on just one key idea. Innovation is the future. You bring this phrase up in every meeting, but you also find subtle ways to repeat it throughout different contexts, whether in casual conversations or in formal presentations. It starts to take root in everyone's mind, and before long, innovation is the future becomes a rallying cry. You've repeated it so often, but each time in a slightly different way or situation, that the message becomes ingrained in their beliefs. When crafting persuasive messages, it's important to ensure that each repetition adds something new, something fresh to the conversation. Every time you repeat your core message, it should feel like an invitation, a call to action that moves the listener closer to agreement. You might phrase it differently or connect it to different ideas, but the core message stays the same. This is the brilliance behind effective advertising. Consider the most successful campaigns. You might not remember every detail, but you know the message. Coca-Cola's "Open Happiness" or Nike's "Just Do It." These phrases are repeated in advertisements, billboards, and social media posts, and every time they make the brand more familiar, more comforting, and ultimately more persuasive. When crafting persuasive messages, here are some strategies to consider. Repetition with variation. Instead of repeating the exact same words, vary your message slightly to keep it fresh. This prevents monotony but ensures the core message stays. Clear. Storytelling. Repetition becomes much more powerful when it's woven into a story. People remember stories, and hearing your message within a compelling narrative makes it stick even more. Repetition in different formats. Present your message through different media, through a speech, a tweet, an email, a podcast, etc. Each time you deliver it, it reaches your audience in a different way, reinforcing the message from different angles. Anchor emotional cues. The more emotionally charged the message, the more likely it will resonate when repeated. Link the repetition to strong feelings, whether it's excitement, fear, hope, or empowerment. Emotion fuels memory, avoiding overuse to maintain interest. But here's the catch. Repetition is powerful, but only when used strategically. Too much repetition, especially without variation, can quickly turn people off. If you overuse your message or repeat it too frequently, it loses its effectiveness. The key to successful repetition is knowing when to step back and let your audience absorb the message before you reinforce it again. Too much repetition can feel like a barrage, and rather than creating trust, it creates fatigue. Think about a song that's overplayed. At first, you loved it, but after hearing it non-stop for weeks, you start to cringe every time it comes on. This is the danger of overusing repetition. If the message becomes too predictable or excessive, it loses its magic and becomes background noise. To avoid this, space out your repetitions and give your audience time to reflect on what they've heard. Let the message sink in before you bring it up again. And when you do, make sure there's a new element, an update, a twist, a different context that makes the repetition feel fresh, not forced. There's a balance to strike. Repetition builds trust and acceptance, but it must be used wisely. When you can repeat your message just enough to drive it home without overwhelming your audience, you create an unbreakable bond of familiarity and belief. The power of repetition lies in its ability to turn the unfamiliar into the familiar. It builds trust, strengthens belief, and makes your persuasive message stick in a way that few other tools can. But like all powerful tools, it must be wielded with care. When used with intention and with just the right amount of variation, repetition can shift minds, change outcomes, and create lasting influence. Conclusion. Throughout this journey, we've explored 15 powerful techniques, each one crafted to help you understand the art of persuasion. From the simple, almost magical impact of a well-timed compliment to the subtle but profound effects of repetition, these tricks are more than just tools. They are gateways to meaningful connections and successful outcomes. But as we reach the end of this book, it's time to reflect on something just as important as the techniques themselves: how we use them. The 15 tricks and their ethical use. When it comes to persuasion, there's a fine line between influence and manipulation. The techniques we've discussed, whether it's mirroring speech, using the power of compliments, or leveraging the principle of reciprocation, are incredibly potent. They have the ability to foster trust, create rapport, and bring people together in ways that benefit everyone involved. But with great power comes great responsibility. The key is to use these methods ethically, with integrity and respect for the people you're interacting with. Persuasion, at its heart, is about building relationships. It's about creating mutual understanding, not coercing others into compliance. It's about helping others see your perspective without forcing it upon them. Each technique is rooted in genuine connection, whether it's listening actively to understand someone's needs or offering a warm gesture to show that you care. When you wield these tools with a sense of responsibility, they can transform your relationships, your career, and your life. But when used to manipulate or deceive, the same tools can cause harm. The fine line between persuasion and manipulation lies in your intention. Persuasion seeks to uplift, to offer value, and to guide others toward making decisions that benefit both sides. Manipulation, on the other hand, uses deceit, pressure, and control to gain personal advantage. Always ask yourself, is this technique being used to serve both my needs and the other person's? If the answer is yes, you're on the right path. The fine line between persuasion and manipulation. Manipulation can feel like a tempting shortcut. It promises quick results, getting someone to do something they might not otherwise do. But here's the truth. Manipulation never lasts. It might win a battle, but it loses the war. People who feel manipulated will eventually push away. They'll feel betrayed, exploited, and disconnected. On the other hand, persuasion, when done ethically, creates lasting trust. It's about planting seeds of understanding that grow into something more, something that benefits everyone. True, persuasion is not about tricking people. It's about showing them a path that they're willing to walk with you, not against their will, but alongside it. You might find that the more you focus on ethical persuasion, the more deeply people connect with you. The more you focus on authentic communication, the more you will notice a shift in the way people respond to you, not out of obligation or fear, but because they genuinely feel seen, heard, and respected. Encouragement to practice responsibly as you move forward and begin to put these techniques into practice. Remember that your power lies not just in what you can get people to do, but in the way you make them feel. When you use persuasion responsibly, you build lasting relationships and create win-win outcomes. You become someone others trust, someone they want to follow, not because they have to, but because they choose to. So practice. Practice using the techniques with kindness, respect, and empathy. You will find that the more you use these skills to help others, and not just yourself, the more effective they will be. The subtle art of persuasion is not just about changing minds, it's about changing hearts. When you focus on helping others see the world from your perspective, you open the door to collaboration, connection, and growth. And in the end, that's the true power of persuasion. It's the power to make lives better, not just your own, but the lives of those you touch. So, go forth with confidence, knowing that you hold the tools to not only influence the world, but to do so with integrity. Practice responsibly, lead with empathy, and watch how these techniques transform your relationships and your life in the most positive and meaningful ways. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and share it with others who are hungry for change. And for those of you looking for something extra, check out our channel membership for exclusive content and perks tailored just for you.